7-1 FM Talk. You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
I heard you on the wireless back in 52, lying awake and then tuning in on you. If I was young, it didn't stop you coming through. They took the credit.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Is that a little loud in your headphones?
Hot mic. My headphones were not working in the Wiggins America
Are they
segment,
working?
and they are now, and you just proved it.
That's fantastic. So I'm really excited about this next conversation that we are going to have here on the show. I don't know if I've ever listened to a radio interview between a host and somebody who is deaf, but we're going to attempt to do it right now, and there's a very good reason why. I have my friend Jake Lipe here, who is somebody who I've known my whole life, I think, and went through grade school with him, went through high school with him, and his life dramatically changed once he was an adult. So here's how this is going to work for the people wondering how this is going to happen. I've written out the questions so that Jake knows what it is we're going to ask him, and he's going to provide the responses back. And Tanner, who is here as well. Tanner, hi.
Hi there.
It's good to have you here as well. Tanner, I've known you forever as well. We've been great friends for such a long time. And Tanner is one of Jake's best friends. And so he's going to help us walk through this. It is NF Awareness Month, and Jake suffers from NF, but I would say he's fighting like hell against NF. So we're going to talk to Jake right now. So Jake, I'm going to start with the first question. Jake, you're a lifelong friend of mine. We went to grade school and high school together. But the Jake that I grew up with had a very different reality than the Jake I'm still friends with today, 3 decades plus later. When did your life change and how?
Well, hi, Annie. First of all, thank you for having me on.
Of course.
It was probably November of 2003, and my mom noticed that when people would speak to my left ear, I would turn my head and aim my right ear at them. And she asked me, she's like, Jake, can you not hear out of your left ear? And I'm like, no, Mom, I really can't. So we went to my personal physician, and we just assumed it was probably like sinuses or something, because I'd struggle with stuff like that. So my physician referred us to another doctor, and they started doing tests, MRIs and stuff. And then it was January, I want to say 20th of 2003. I was 18 years old and a senior in high school. And the doctor at Barnes Jewish goes, Jake, you have a disease called NF2. And I was floored. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? I never even heard of it. He's like, Jake, it's basically this. NF2 is basically this. My 22nd chromosome, because of a spontaneous genetic mutation, doesn't produce a protein called Merlin. And that protein Merlin is what regulates cell growth throughout the body. Because I don't produce this protein, my body grows benign tumors, mostly on the brain and spinal cord. And these tumors cause a wide range of neurological issues. That's what knocked the hearing out of my left ear. Besides hearing loss, they can also cause vision impairments, speech difficulties, facial paralysis, balance issues. I have cataracts, small cataracts in both eyes. And so after I was diagnosed, we were totally just floored. You know, we were trying to, first of all, my parents were trying to gather information about NF2, because again, we never heard of it. And it's so rare. It actually affects 1 in every 25,000 people. And so basically, to a long story short, 1 week after I graduated high school, I flew to Los Angeles and had the tumor in my left ear. Its technical term is called a vestibular schwannoma. I had it removed by a really notorious NF2 surgeon named Dr. Daryl Brackman. You know, very lucky in that regard. He's a great surgeon. He's retired now, but still does consultants. Awesome guy. And then, so I was left with 1 good functioning ear. And then in 2008, that ear also gave out. Just suddenly, just like it couldn't handle double duty anymore. Just stopped working. And so at age 23, I was faced with the reality that I was completely deaf. And it just totally broke me. And to this day, I'm still putting the pieces back together. It's a learning experience, you know. Everything you do, I mean, you do battle with this disease on a daily basis. Basically, is what my life is about now. Just doing everything I can to live my best life in spite of it.
Yeah. We're speaking with Jake Lipe. He is a lifelong friend of mine, and he was inflicted with NF2 when he was just out of high school. So if you can imagine what it's like to be all the way up to graduating high school, and you're just a normal kid living a normal life, and this comes in and takes over everything. Tanner Alexander is one of Jake's closest friends, and Tanner, we also grew up together. You've been very close friends with Tanner for your entire life, and you had a front row seat. You know, Jake does, for people who are just joining us right now, Jake is deaf. Jake can't hear what I'm saying right now. He has a device in front of him that listens to what's going on and puts the words down on his screen so that he can understand the conversation. There's a lot of noise in here right now because we're at a golf scramble. He has had to be a fighter. And you've watched it from when you guys were screwing around like bozo kids, which I had a front row seat to when you guys were younger. But to now, what was it like to sit there and have that front row seat to this whole story?
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing, this piece of technology that he has right now is a new development. Jake just went to a NF2 conference over the winter for the first time, and he came home with a lot of new technology that we haven't had before. Jake, one thing that if you know about him, you know that he's pretty darn stubborn.
For sure. Yeah, perfect.
Anybody that knows Jake can attest to his stubbornness. Didn't really want to learn sign language, even though lots of us have volunteered to do that with him. He didn't want to do that. He's pretty good at reading lips, though, and he can read my lips better than lots of people's for whatever reason, I guess, just because we've grown up together for so long. But this new technology that he has is a game changer. And so that's been fantastic. But just as he was saying, we were seniors in high school when he found out that he had this crazy disease that none of us had ever heard of. We shorten it NF2. It stands for neurofibromatosis. You know, that's just a crazy diagnosis, a crazy word. So we didn't know what was going to happen. We're all having graduation parties, and Jake flies out to California and gets his head cut wide open. And to do that surgery, he was already pretty much deaf in that ear, but they snipped his auditory nerve, so the hearing's never going to come back on that side. You know, he came back with a really cool scar.
It's horrible.
But he's got an awesome scar. The chicks dig, you know, as they say.
Spoken only like a best friend could actually articulate.
So he's got this wild scar. Things were going okay. You know, if you look at him, you wouldn't know that he has this horrible disease. And he can chat with people, but then they talk back to him, and I have to let him know that, you know, hey, he's deaf, and then we kind of work the conversation from there. But just looking at him, you wouldn't know that what he's dealing with and facing every day. It's been sombering, you know. Like, Jake is the life of the party. Jake would quote movie lines like anybody could, you know.
For people who want to know a little bit about Jake's personality, Jake would come to grade school basketball games in a full suit, like true. He was an NBA agent, and he was just there to supervise.
He was the manager.
Yes, he was the manager in a full suit. Well, I'm going to shift now to Jake. Jake, you've really stared NF2 squarely in the eyes and repeatedly made it clear that you're a fighter that has zero intentions of backing down. How did your personal struggles, experiences, and victories lead you to what we're talking about today, which is this charity event that's going to not necessarily benefit you, but benefit other people who might be combating this disease?
Oh, well, truthfully, Andy, Tanner talked about the summit that I attended. It was actually last summer. He mixed his seasons up. It's okay, buddy. Don't worry about it. It happens.
It was deer season. Sorry.
I attended this NF summit last year, and it was put on by this organization called the Children's Tumor Foundation. And what CTF does is they are pretty much leading the fight through research initiatives of all kinds to cure NF. There's multiple forms of NF. There's NF1, NF2, which I have, and the third one is called schwannomatosis, which I may be mispronouncing. In my defense, I have never actually heard the word pronounced. But anyway, CTF, they put on these amazing events. They're really, really driving research. It's an amazing organization, and they put on this event in Chicago last year called the NF Summit. And basically what it was doctors, researchers, other NF patients, NF advocates, patient advocates, all coming together to spend 3 days talking about the progress we're making, the work we're putting into things. Gives you a chance to, with NF2 being so rare, getting the chance to interact with other patients in person is kind of rare. So events like this, where you can actually, hug a person who has literally walked the same hospital halls in Boston as you have, just hits differently. And at this event, I met some friends. One person who comes to mind is my friend McKinnon, who, like me, has an F2. She just lost her hearing last year. She had to willfully surrender what was left of her hearing to try and save her facial nerve. And I'm hearing all these other NF2 stories and seeing these people like me, regular families too. They're families of NF patients, parents whose kids are struggling with this disease, putting on all these charity events. It's golf tournaments, poker tournaments, dance-a-thons, just regular everyday people doing everything they can to fight back. And I'm like, you know what? I got to get on this. So in my mind, I'm like, let's have a golf scramble, because I love the game of golf. It's symbolic to me because to play golf, you need balance, coordination, and depth perception. All three things that NF2 tries to take from me. But I'm not going to ever give it the satisfaction of keeping me from doing something I love. So I'm still out there anyway, and it's a challenge. Golf is challenging on a regular basis, but adding all the NF2 things, and it just gets worse. Like Tanner here has to track my golf shots. Because of my cataracts, I can't track my Frey's golf shots.
Let's be honest, you were never good at that. He can't hear that.
And so all that, I'm like, you know what? We got to make a difference. I got to get more involved, because truthfully, I'm really one of the lucky patients.
Yeah.
Like Tanner said, my hearing's gone, and I have a bad left shoulder and some other stuff. But for the most part, I'm very lucky when it comes to NF2. And so we need more lucky people. It's really my job, so to speak, my duty to do everything I can to bring more people into the fight.
Yeah, I think it's so empowering for, we're sitting in a golf scramble. Golf is not easy in general. And what Jake is facing on a daily basis is not easy. And Tanner, putting on a golf scramble isn't easy. Jake coming on a radio show. I mean, Jake's wearing headphones right now, and he puts them on. He wants to look good. You do look great, Jake. You look great.
I just wanted to fit in.
Yeah, you do. You fit in perfectly. These are
I don't think they're working.
They probably aren't.
The engineers want to hear that.
When we don't have challenges like what Jake has, or when we as individuals don't have a connection to someone like Jake who has NF2, like you said, it's something that we didn't know anything about until Jake had it. We all had to learn, and I know you know so much about NF2, and you've done that because you've been such a supportive friend to Jake. It's easy to overlook these types of challenges. What do you think about Jake standing up against all of these challenges and prioritizing? It is NF2, or it is NF Awareness Month right now, saying, you know what I'm going to do? Even though all of these challenges are facing me, challenges that you and I won't ever even experience, I'm going to put this together. We're going to have a golf scramble. I'm going to raise some money so that other people can be made aware of this and hopefully support the cause, and maybe there'll be a cure someday.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. Jake doing this, putting himself out there, it's courageous. Like I said before, Jake is a very stubborn person. So him
repeating that, I mean,
I think we want to make sure that point hammers home. But no, it's courageous, asking others for help. And Jake has had access to some of the best doctors in the world when it comes to NF2, and other people, might not have as access to those good of doctors, that same support and care that Jake's gotten. So for him wanting to do for others, just to help them out any way that he can, it's awesome. We've played in plenty of golf scrambles. We've never put one on, and you probably can tell. Jake's kind of been spearheading this all by himself because, again, he has been a little too stubborn to ask for help. But we're here, we're here. We're getting the word out. It's a great thing that he's doing, and I couldn't be more proud of him. Jake started writing a blog, so you can follow along with his journey. It's been great that what he's been doing lately when, this disease has gotten him down plenty of times in the past.
Sure.
And rightfully so, we always try to get him out, and he might not always be in the mood to do something, and who can blame him, but him putting himself out there, like I said before, it's courageous, and I'm really proud of him.
Yeah, I am too. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation. It's not an easy thing to do, to have a conversation with somebody who can't hear, but there are accommodations that can be made. And in order to use this as an opportunity to make more people aware of what NF is and get the awareness out there, being that it is NF Awareness Month, I couldn't pass up this opportunity. So, Jake, how can listeners support your cause today, right now, also in the future? What do you want to hear people do?
Well, the best thing to do is get a 4-man team together. Mark July 15th on your calendars. Coming out to Oak Brook. You can register for the event on our website, nffighterscramble.com. If golf's not your thing, my plea is just go to Children's Tumor Foundation's website, ctf.org, and learn more about NF2 or NF1, all three variations of the disease. Learn about what we're facing. Find other ways that maybe you can get involved. For example, CTF sponsors a thing called the NF Endurance Team, and basically it's just people doing endurance events, half marathons, triathlons, and through those events they'll do fundraising campaigns to get the word out and raise money for NF research. And really, we just need to do anything we can to get 1% better, because again, we're a small community. NF is a rare disease, and so it's kind of up to those of us in the community to do what we can to get the word out and generate research funds. We're all kind of contributing our 1%. But when you think about it, when we add up all those 1%, we have the ability to really score a big win against this disease.
Yes, absolutely. I am putting out a challenge right now to my listeners. If you're listening right now and any of this hits home for you, I want to ask a favor of you, because Jake is going to need some support to put together this golf scramble, as Tanner has articulated. He's never done this before. He's working with Oak Brook, and his friends are around him supporting him. And he is working for CTF.org to help the Children's Tumor Foundation and raise money. So this is what I want you to do. If you go to nffighterscramble.com, you'll find a spot there that says become a sponsor. Now, of course, if you want to sponsor this golf scramble, that would tickle me pink, and I would be so elated if you want to sign up to do that. I'm going to get a team in this, and I'm going to be at this golf scramble. So I hope that you'll join me and sign up. But even more than that, if you go to nffighterscramble.com, I'm going to ask you what I ask you to do when I have a charity that I feel is worthy of this time here on this show. There's the spot where it says become a sponsor. And if you click on become a sponsor, you're going to see a place where you can donate. I'm asking you to donate $9.71. That's a lunch out these days. $9.71 to the NF Fighter Scramble. And as he has on here in true Jake fashion, fighting NF with golf clubs. I like that. Will you please throw the weight of the Annie Frey Show behind this effort? Because this is going to the Children's Tumor Foundation, ending NF through research. This is not like for his medical bills. This is right, Tanner. This
correct. Yeah, it's all the proceeds are going to the Children's Tumor Foundation. There's no salaries or anything that we have to cover. It's not going to Jake.
This is so rudimentary.
It's going straight to the children.
It's not going to Jake. I actually also point out my slogan, fighting NF2 with golf clubs. I originally had it as beating NF2 with golf clubs. But there's so many such Sallies out there, But I feel on this show, it's okay to point that out.
Man, when you hear Jake talking about sensitive Sallies, if that doesn't garner a $9.71 donation, will you please just go to nffighterscramble.com and consider some element of generosity? You know what you can afford. And if you've wanted to support this show, support this cause. It is a worthy cause. I promise it's a worthy cause. I have, as you know, don't have conversations like this on my show very often, but this is one that is deserving, and I'm so grateful to be talking to Jake here today. You did great, Jake.
Thank you.
You don't have to wave bye to the people on the radio.
Yeah. Captains went out. I'm sorry.
His captains are over, which means it's time for break. Tanner, anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
No, thank you very much for having us. I sincerely appreciate it. To all the golfers out there, it's $125 a person to play in this. That's going to include all your beer, soft drinks, golf, everything. So it's a good price. Yeah, they're typically more expensive these days. So come on out and play.
Oakbrook Golf Course.
Oakbrook Golf
Beautiful course.
Yep, July 15th, Edwardsville, Illinois. Thank you very much, Annie.
Yeah, Tanner and Jake, I've known you guys forever. You've known me for a long time. They know my brother really well, and we've been friends for a long time. And it's an honor to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
All right, NF Scramble.
Thank you, Andy.
Yep.
My captain's went out against our
his machine stopped working. Darn technology.
Upgrade the subscription.
NFFightersScramble.com. Click on that. Become a sponsor. $9.71. Would you do that for me? Would you help support this cause? It is a worthy one. If you can donate more, we'll take that as well. Stick around, more Annie Frey Show after this.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show.